Hey everybody, I'm Nick Gerner, CEO at WordPress VIP, and I'm really excited to be joined today by Haley Nelson, VP of Content at Salesforce, to talk today about content marketing in the enterprise. Haley, thank you so much for joining me today.
Happy to be here, Nick. Thank you.
Take me a bit through your background and what brought you to this role of VP at Content at Salesforce today.
I got into media and publishing more than 20 years ago. I was fresh out of college and living in San Francisco right when the internet was taking off. And I had the opportunity to work at Wired magazine in its second year of publication. And it was a moment where the technology and the design and the journalism came together on the web, and it really enabled storytelling to go to this next level where it was interactive and you could build communities and you could get people engaged in the content in a way that had never happened before.
Haley, okay, so you've got this great background in content. How is a brand like Salesforce, traditionally known for its what it's bringing to customers in the form of software and SaaS, and how is content really driving Salesforce's objectives?
Great question. Our goal is really to help people be better at their jobs, help people use our platform in smarter ways. And so, a story that we can write on the blog can offer value. And that's an authentic way to communicate and to drive and foster kind of two-way communication. I sometimes think of a framework that, we want to inspire, we want to educate, and then we want to activate. So when I think about the types of content we put out into the world, whether we inspire people with our thought leadership or our innovation, or maybe it's something around our brand values and the way we show up in the world as a company, we want to inspire you to engage with us. And then we also want to think about educating. We have so much thought leadership to bring to our prospects and customers and professionals at large, where we can really be helpful. How can we help you be better in your role? How can we help you with an insight or a tidbit that is going to make you smarter and able to think about a business challenge in a different way? And then ultimately, we want to have you take a next step. We want to activate you. And that might be signing up for an email newsletter after you've read a blog post. It might be following us on social or sharing something that we've shared on social. Or maybe it's diving in really deep and investigating a playbook that we have out there, whether it's a playbook on digital transformation written by our COO, or maybe it's something more specific, like how do you manage employees through COVID-19. So content really is about engaging people, thinking about their journey, thinking about the relationship with us as a brand, and showing up with something that's relevant and valuable for someone in the moment.
So you build community through those different touch points. Talk to me about what are some of the lessons maybe from media that really come into how do you think about creating these connections? What compels the audience actually to do some of these actions from your perspective? And how do you think about ultimately if we want an action like a newsletter sign up or just someone to download something or to learn something, how do you think about connecting sort of what you're creating to what you're expecting from an outcomes perspective?
I think we need to build trust. And a big part of the way we do that is through our authentic voice, whether it's, staying with us for a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes to read a story, whether it's committing to signing up for an email. We want to foster that ongoing dialogue. It's I think we've seen some interesting research from the B2B Institute at LinkedIn recently that was fascinating, where they're really kind of demonstrating the long-term value of brand building. And I think content is really crucial to fostering those sorts of longer-term nurture cycles or relationships.
One of the first things in our work together was that Salesforce brought the blog over, was planning to bring the blog onto WordPress, previously on a different system though. Talk a bit about what was really the push behind why that was going to be so critical. Where was content agility, where was moving quickly? Why was the blog going to be sort of one of the early adopters there of WordPress at Salesforce?
I think the pandemic really highlighted our need to be able to move quickly and make changes to our plans as a marketing organization. And the importance of having platforms that would enable us to publish quickly, to respond with speed and agility was just highlighted in a new way. Now that our blog is on WordPress, the fact that so many more people can access the tool, it's so easy for people to be trained up and learning how to publish. We can move so much more quickly now. It really was game changing. We became so much more efficient as a team. We went from one person kind of holding the keys to the publishing kingdom to 5 or 6 people being able to publish stories in a rapid pace. And with 2,000 marketers at Salesforce really pivoting to digital, it was so important that we have that throughput and we have that efficiency. In a time where things change constantly, and you have to respond to the market and you have to respond to world events, you need to be ready to publish quickly. You need to be ready to publish on the fly. You need to be able to change your narrative overnight. And one thing that I admire about Salesforce is we can rally 2,000 marketers so quickly to orient to what's happening in the world. And having flexible systems that enable us to do that is crucial.
So how do we think about success in a world that's no longer just like, okay, did they or did they not do this one particular thing, but are we engaging them in a holistic way? How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that content and brand are so intertwined when you think about the role of content in building the brand and explaining who we are and what we do. But ultimately, we want it all. We want content to engage people at the top of the funnel. We want them to spend time with us. We want them to come back and visit us often. We want them to share our thought leadership. But ultimately, we do want to drive pipe and we do want to drive ACV. And so I think it's just figuring out what role does content play at each stage and what is the right piece of content at the right moment. One thing that's been really kind of a hallmark of the work we're trying to do as a content organization is just encouraging people, to make sure that we don't have random acts of content where, it's fun to spin something up, it's a creative idea, it works in the moment, but it doesn't have a next step. It doesn't connect with the rest of the system. So really, when we think about content marketing at its best, it's really an entire ecosystem of messaging, and it's a series of offerings that are all interconnected and bring the user down a holistic journey to engage with us.
With so much context behind these different interactions, what are great ways to think about measuring the impact and understanding the impact of content and the efforts you're putting behind it?
It's a delicate balance, Nick, because our subject matter experts know their topic, they know their audience deeply, and success for one person might just be reaching one specific decision maker who then takes an action. And success for another group might look like reaching a broad amount of people with a message. And so I think we have to be very nuanced and careful with our approach because different content creators across the company are looking at success in different ways. There's so many different parameters that we can look at. We can look at how much time you're spending. Are you coming back over time? Are we deepening an engagement with you? And if we see those factors impacted positively, then we know we're on the right track. We recently relaunched both our blog on WordPress, but also our email newsletter. And with both of those efforts, we really up-leveled design. We really made a deliberate adjustment to our voice and tone to just be that much more authentic, that much more colloquial. And with both of those, we're seeing time spent get deeper and deeper. We're seeing people subscribe to our email newsletter on a nice up-ramping slope. And so, I think we're on to something because we're providing content that is relevant and timely and related to this moment. We're not just selling products when someone might not be ready. So we're really trying to develop a relationship where we nurture you along. And I think that's the thing about content marketing. It's part art, it's part science, and so it's very nuanced, and you have to be careful.
Haley, thank you so much for joining me today here to talk about what you all are up to with content marketing at Salesforce. I feel like every time we get to chat like this, I leave so much smarter than when we started. So again, thank you. Congrats on what you and the team are building there. It's incredibly exciting to partner with you all on this, and I can't wait to see what y'all do in the months and years ahead.
Thank you so much, Nick. We are so excited about our partnership, and I'm really excited to see what we can build together in the coming years, and super psyched about the future of content.